All right, welcome everybody listening from all around the world, all around this beautiful blue-green planet we call Gaia. Welcome everybody here listening in Australia, this beautiful country of ours. Welcome to the Mystic Drop, where each week we try and journey down the road less traveled by, as the great Robert Frost once poetically put. I am your host, Roberto Roya, and joining me today, very special guest, such a cool cat, Captain Kuda. Captain Kuda Morgan Mabuto, the musician, artist, producer, entertainer, and entrepreneur, was born in Harare, Zimbabwe. Captain Kuda grew up listening to a vast array of music due to his loving parents who enjoyed playing vinyls. At a young age of 10, he was writing his own songs. Later in life, he moved to the Gold Coast, Australia, and studied music and film at Griffith University. He released the single Good On, featuring Becky Lee, which was performed at the 2018 Commonwealth Games. Being an Aquarius, Kuda has also questioned the status quo, which led him on a path less traveled by few. Mischievous and rebellious by nature, he now channels this energy into his music, leading his way to the truth. Welcome, Captain Kuda. How you going, brother?
Wagwan, brother. Good to be here, man. It's an honor, brother. It's an honor, really glad, you called me up for this. I like to talk. Everybody knows me, man. It's what we do. We talk, and we talk from the heart. We're blessed with so much talent. So, it's good to meet like-minded folk who understand what's going on in the world. And what a day, what a Sunday, man.
That's it, man. That's what it's all about. And it's a real pleasure and honor having you on, man. I've followed your music for a while, and you're a talented and spirited soul, and just love everything that you do, and I love your energy, everything that you bring to the world and humanity. So thank you for all that, man. Thank you.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's the heart. So before we get started, you're a first-time guest on our show, and we always start with a mystic drop incantation, and it goes like this. We are two spiritual cosmic beings sitting around the campfire. Two drops of light from the Great Spirit. Truth is our path, and wisdom is our teacher. We start with a salute.
Salute. Hey.
And now let our magic flow, brother.
Yeah, man. Let's do this.
Brother. Again, thank you so much for coming on, man. I really appreciate it. And where I want to start is take me back to the beginnings of where your passion for music started back in Zimbabwe.
Bro, to be honest, it's really hard to pinpoint it, but I can tell you that music, I think, because I grew up with music, my mom and dad played vinyls, as you mentioned there, and I was just, always with music around. My mom, likes to sing. I think my dad was in the church choir at some point. So music has always been part of, family, and they're always around me. From vinyls to listening to radio, just grew up in it, man. I just love, rhythms, melodies, all that kind of vibe. So I grew up listening to all lots from, 70s, 80s rock and roll music to, your classics, your Bee Gees, your Dire Straits, you name it, man. I grew up with such, a vast amount of music. So I think it's just where it all came from. And by growing up, I remember probably around 9, 10, I was now listening to hip hop because of radio, Tupac and Biggie. I ended up having the lyrics printed out. I got all these lyrics printed out, like a big batch, man. These lyrics, Tupac, Biggie lyrics.
Yeah.
And I was about 19 years old. I was reading these lyrics, so I started learning. Looking at this paper, how they write the songs. And from then on, brother, that's in me, man, just bang into it, brother. 10 years old, I was writing my own songs. I've just been into it. I've just been into it, man. Big influences. I remember I had these shoes, like Michael Jackson shoes. And when Michael Jackson came on TV, I would run into my room, put these shoes on, and I'll be moonwalking, man, in the house. I'll be doing my moonwalk and all that. So it's just, just a big music, background, brother. That's the honest truth,
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
it's just been a childhood, kind of thing. And it just grew bigger and bigger. And I started making beats when I was about 15. I learned how to make beats by myself. And man, it just blew up, man. I was like, I can make my own beats. I can write my own songs. I was like, I can make my own stuff, So that's exactly where it came from, but that's where my passion is, man. Yeah.
Yeah. Going back to what you were saying, like Michael Jackson, I grew up with, during the 90s, I grew up with Michael Jackson. His music is like living in my blood and my veins, what he produced and everything. And going back, you look at the great artists like Bob Marley and all the great hip hop artists and everything. What do their music that they produce mean to you?
Bro, I'm not gonna lie, man. The truth for me is that when I look at that music, it's timeless music. You can still play that tune today and you still love it. So to me, a lot of those legendary artists made that those classics that are timeless, and that's what it means to me. Where I want to also make music that will go, 50 years, 80 years after I pass on. You know what I mean? It don't matter. I just want to make that music that also stands time, stands the time, you know what I mean, So that's where, look at Bob Marley right now. People, you can still put a tune like, One Love, you know what I mean? It's still a big tune, brother, right now. It don't matter, man. It don't matter. So to me, those musicians made timeless music. And that's what I look to, bro, That's what I aspire to make timeless tunes. Yeah, man.
Exactly, 100%. And as I said, they just runs through every part of our being, especially Bob Marley, Michael Jackson, just kings, absolute kings, man.
Wow.
And and we can get all into the conspiracy stuff later of all that, but of how they passed and what they did. What they did to those great artists and spreading the truth and everything. But we'll get into that a little bit later. But I want to ask you, from your own life, what experiences in your life did you take and put into your own music?
Bro, it's a never ending, situation, because for me, music is about being true and being real, true to yourself. So everything, my whole life, whether how I grew up, my family, what I deal with, my relationships, all that kind of stuff. That's what I bring to my music, and especially with learning now about what's going on, about the dodgy stuff, like you said, the conspiracy theories. I try to bring that because I also want to share that to people that don't know about it. So I bring that to my music and I try to rap about things that people don't know about so that they can question and go like, what did he say? Oh, let me go look for that. Let me go search that. Let me go learn about that. You know what I mean? I just want to leave seeds, and leave these seeds that people can then, and then they flourish in people's lives. They go, oh, I never knew about that, man. I listened to Captain Kuda's song and he talked about this stuff and I never knew this is what's going on, you know what I mean? So I bring everything, and I'm still learning, brother. There's so much to learn and we'll never stop learning. Life is about learning, man, you know what I mean? At 90 years, 100 years, you're still learning. It don't matter. So whatever I learn in every day of my life, I bring that to my music, and that's me, man. That's my message. That's my story. Yeah, man.
Yeah, and as I said before in the intro, that you came from Zimbabwe originally, and then you came to the Gold Coast, which is a total culture shock, really. And then you come from there, and then you've gone back to Zimbabwe. What experiences did you have when you were growing up there? How did it differ from seeing what you saw on the Gold Coast to what you experienced when in Zimbabwe?
I remember I was talking to someone in 2018, I think it was. Yeah. Because another thing that I'll add on that people don't know about me and I don't talk about a lot is that I graduated as an enrolled nurse. So I'm an EN. And I was involved in nursing, and I saw a lot of things, working as a nurse.
Yeah.
But the one thing that really stood out to me that I can, talk to you about right now with what
Yeah.
you're questioning about is the fact that Australia, and I think still is right now, I'm not sure if it changed, but in 2018, Australia at that time, I don't know if the statistics have changed, but was number one in the world for suicide rates between the ages of 18 and 32,
Yeah.
per capita in the world. So Australia was number one in the world for those suicides happening, which I really didn't know, and it shocked me when I found out. I said, whoa, this is crazy, man, because Australia is such a lovely country, beautiful, and there's so much that people are blessed with. People don't even realize how much they have. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for me to come to Australia and see all this, amazing, astonishing stuff, and then realizing that people are still killing themselves. What's going on here? Like, what's wrong? It really shocked me because for me, growing up in Zimbabwe, suicide was rare. Even today, it's rare, man. You don't hear people killing themselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's very rare. And then to come to such a lovely, beautiful country with so much, amazing people, and then you find out that, suicide is so high, it really, surprised me, man. I was like, what's going on here? So over here, I started realizing, and I realized three things, and we'll talk about it. I'll briefly summarize it.
Yeah.
But to me, I realized the three things that differ between Zimbabwe and Australia, and it shows how I grew up, And I'll tell you what those three things are. Number one is that over here, people are very God-fearing, you know what I mean? It's a very Christian country, Christianity is the biggest thing. So because of that Christianity, people realize that life is not for you to decide that, I'm going to go, you know what I mean? God gives you life and God takes life away from you, you know what I mean? So that's one thing in Zimbabwe, which is very prominent. Secondly, another thing that I realized, and that's not there, I met a lot of people that don't believe in God in Australia and don't go to church. I don't go to church anymore. I used to when I was young, but I believe there's a creator. I moved away from the Christian basis of God. I moved on to, the spirituality part where you believe there's a God, but not in the sense of, that go to church, do this, blah, blah, blah. But there's a creator, we're not just here by chance. And, everything is so perfect because that's the way you created it, when you look at nature. So I've moved away, but I'm just saying that in Zimbabwe, because of Christianity and church, suicide is rare, very rare, very rare. Number two, as well, is that over here, there's a close-knit community, you know what I mean? People are very close where they live, you know what I mean? Like where I grew up, bro, I knew everybody, I walked to the shops, hey, man, you greet everyone, hey, good morning, how you doing, good day. You look at Australia, man, people are just doing what they do, man. You don't even know your neighbors, man. I lived in Australia, so many different neighborhoods. Nobody talks to you, they don't even tell about you, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But because of that, people end up very lonely and depressed and whatever. But over here, people are very close in the community. They talk together, they share. If you run out of sugar, you can knock on your neighbor's gate. Excuse me, can I get some sugar? I'll give you back, when I can. They'll do that for you, you know what I mean? So everyone, and it helps you out, you know what I mean? Because we are human beings, we are all about togetherness. We're all about, being with other people. Where in Australia, people are just by themselves, they do what they all do, and it's very sad, you know what I mean? Very sad. Then, what's that one? I remember I looked at two things: God, community, and what's the last thing? I'm not too sure now. I'm forgetting what it was. But there were three things, brother, that I looked at. And I said, these are the three things that are missed in Australia. And that's what I think. Oh, I know what the third thing was.
Yeah.
The third thing was the fact that drugs are big. Look at the way people do, like, what's it called? Ice, for example. We don't have ice over here. We don't have those kind of things. And, even though there's, weed is here, marijuana, whatever, but the fact that people are not just, these drug, people that are looking for money to buy drugs. Most people are looking for money to buy food. Most people are poor, they're looking for money to buy food, not to, get messed up or get wasted, whatever, you know what I mean? So, there's all these things, bro, that I felt like they were the reason why Australia was #1 for the suicide rates. But it's really sad though, because I looked and said, oh, there's another thing. Poverty, brother, poor people. People are poor, yeah, but they respect life and they have love. You know what I mean? In Australia, people are not poor. You know what they got? They got good jobs, there's work, but they got Centrelink. You know what I mean? You can just be at home and get money. You know what I mean? You don't have that over here, man. If you don't work for yourself, you're not gonna get your hand out. Nobody's gonna come to you and say, hey, man, every week, every 2 weeks, here's a $700, here's $800. You know what I mean? You're not gonna find that. You know. So even though people are more poor over here compared to Australia, they still love life and they know that life is not about money. You know what I mean? Life is about life. It's about people around you. It's about love. It's not about money. When Australia, people are very consumer based. You know, look at the way people buy things in Australia, bro. Look at the way, Christmas, all these things. People are very consumer based and they buy all these things. And they think love is having things. I know people will be like, oh, I don't have an iPhone 7, my life sucks. I'm like, dude, it doesn't matter that you don't have an iPhone 12, man. There's more to life than having an iPhone, man. You know what I mean? But the problem is people in Australia think that having some of these objects, not everybody, but some people, let me bring that back. Some people, a majority of people have this consumer, materialism kind of thing where owning things is what makes them happy. But you know what the problem with that, brother? The problem with owning things and being happy is that there'll always be better things. There's always going to be new things. So you're chasing a tail, your own tail. You'll never catch your own tail. So that's the problem. People end up unhappy because there's always a new iPhone. There's always a new car. There's always a new T-shirt. There's always new jeans. You cannot find happiness in owning things. Happiness has to come from within, from being content with life and people and whatever, not from saying, I've got a new car. Because once that car's old, what are you going to say? Oh, my car's old now. Oh, my car's this. Oh, this and that. So that's what I realized in Australia, that, people focus on all these things and end up depressed and sad and whatever, which leads to those suicide rates. So, yeah, man.
It goes back to your second point.
So it's crazy, bro. It's crazy.
Yeah. No, I remember, growing up and people, especially in Australia, they look at they look at Africa and they go, oh no, it's dangerous. I don't want to go there. It's all, I'm not sure about it and everything. And, I've traveled there. I've gone to Egypt and traveled through. And you know what? People, as you said, they live simply, and they live through. When they look at happiness, they find it within themselves. They don't look at the outside. Well, I need this, I need that. No, they look from within, and as you said, they've got the communities, and they all support each other. If someone needs something, they help out.
Yeah.
I think it's a beautiful, beautiful way to live. Even when I went to Italy, in the south in Napoli and stuff, you walk down the road, a big happy smile. Do you want to come in for a drink? No worries, come in, have a couple of drinks. We'll tell some stories. Here, you walk down the road, no one wants to say hello to each other, especially now with the social distancing and all that. Like, it's just crazy, man. Crazy.
Oh man, it's sad, man. It's sad what's happened to society, bro, because I realized that was the biggest scam that they managed to push on the world, where now anyone, whether they got symptoms or not, is a threat to someone. You know what I mean? Because you think that, this person can make me sick. So you want to separate yourself and distance yourself, But, I told someone, I said, social distancing is an oxymoron, bro. You know that. You cannot be social and be distant. It can't happen, man. You cannot be social and be distant. There's no way you can do that. You know what I mean? You either are social or you're distant, but you cannot be social distant. You know what I mean? It doesn't work. It's an oxymoron. So it's crazy, you know what I mean? But it's given people, this whole, there's a virus and people carry the virus and they don't show symptoms. So people want to, don't get close to me. It's such a bullshit gig, bro. It's such a bullshit gig. And so many people have fallen into that trap. You know what I mean? It's really sad to see that. Yeah, man.
Exactly. That's right. And I know from listening to your tracks that you try to inspire people, to
For
wake
sure,
them
for
up,
sure,
yeah,
for sure.
to come together,
Mhm,
especially during these times.
mhm.
What period of your life did you wake up and did you look at the world and go, you know what? Something's
Something
wrong.
dodgy. Yeah.
Something's not right here. What period, at what pinpoint of your life did you go, no,
I
this
know,
is
I
not
know, I
right.
know that point, but I know that point, and I'm glad that I went to that point. Let me tell you this true story. When I was in high school, I went to a boarding school. And over here, we do grade 1 to grade 7, which is your primary school. And then you go to high school, you do form 1, form 2, form 3, form 4. Then you go to lower 6 and upper 6. So you do 6 years of high school. Yeah. So, anyways, I went to a boarding school for form 1 and 2. Then I came back home and I went.
We seem to have lost Captain Kuda. Oh man, gotta love technology, people. I'm sorry about this. All right, let's just wait a little bit and see if he comes back on board. No, he's gone. All right. So yeah, we're gonna stop it here, and we'll probably do this in a part 1, part 2 thing. And yeah, we'll be right back. Sorry about this, guys.